Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome to Cosmo Muse Tarot, and this reading is going to be looking at the numerology, so the vibration of October for you guys. So it's going to take a little work, if you don't know numerology, to get your right number to get you to your correct reading. But I have a little tutorial for you. If you know numerology well and you have your own systems you like, feel free to use your own calculations. I have very specific ones that I use that aren't probably the most popular ones, but they're the ones that through time and observation have like really connected and worked for me. So before you know what your month number is for October, you need to know what your year number is for the year of your current birthday. So whenever your last birthday was, you need the number associated with that. So I'm going to help you get to that number first, and then we use that number to get you to your October number. So for your year number, you are going to first add the day and month of your birth. And I'm going to use some double digits just to make it really clear for those of you that have double digit things going on in your birth date. So let's say you are born on the 13th, or let's say you're born December, which is the month is 12, but we're going to break that into single digits, so 1 plus 2. And then let's say you are born on the 21st. And so then you would add that day as well. So 2 plus 1. So breaking that into 1 as well, into single digits as well. And you're going to add those up to get a number from these digits. So from your month and day of birth. So in this case, we have 6 because 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 6. Okay, so from there, you are going to add 6 to the last birthday, the year of the last birthday you had. So if you were born before October, if your birthday is before October in the year, you would use 2024 for this date. But we're also going to reduce the year to its own digit as well. So if you were born between January and September, you would add 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4, which equals 8. For the date I'm using, which is December 21st, their last birthday, the date of that last birthday would have been 2023. So you would add up that year, and that adds down to a 7. So you would either take 8 or 7, whichever year your last birthday was in, and you would add it to the month and day number you got. So in this case, because our last birthday for this one was in 2023, we would add 6 plus 7, which equals 13. And then you would reduce the 13 down as well to get a single digit. So you do 1 plus 3, and that equals 4. So someone born December 12th, 2021 is currently in a 4 year. And we go through years in 1 to 9, as well as in months of 1 to 9 and days of 1 to 9. So we cycle through those. There are master numbers, but for year and month and day numbers, I don't use those quite as much. I guess you could use them if you wanted, but I like to stick to that 1 through 9 rhythm in the movement of numbers that we vibrate with. Okay, so let's take the 4. from the year number from this and find our month number. So you'd take 4, because that's the year number this person or this birth date is experiencing, and we'd add it to the month number of October, which is 10. So 4 plus 1 plus 0. You don't technically have to put the 0 in there, but that equals 5. So 5 is the month number for this birth date. So if you go through this process and something confuses you or you're not sure you got the right number, I will do my best to try and watch the comments. I typically check in on comments like once a week, but for this one, I know last month I tried to be mindful of like checking in on comments a little bit more. So yeah, leave a comment if you're confused and I can help you answer some questions or get you to the right month number for your October. So this is sort of the vibration around October for you using numerology. And you're welcome to use this because I also do the seasonal, like the zodiac season readings. So there is a Libra season reading already up, which goes quite far into October until like the 21st or 22nd of October. So it's fun to layer these to get like a really specific to you kind of energy read for what's going on at the moment. So layer your Libra season and your numerology for October or whatever month you come to. Okay, so that said, I do have, even though you're just going to go to the descriptions and that's where I will put timestamps for the month number that you are in, I just still have some little avatar cards to, I don't know, add a little pile recognition for each of these. And there is a keyword here that might give you a clue as to the kind of energy this month is going to hold for you. Oh, these don't. Let's see. Push this up a little. We might have to do a little bit of a bridge. Okay, and then we've got 8, 9. All right. So, if you are in a 1 month, there's something with a new beginning. 2 month has some patience. 3 month has creativity. 4 month has perseverance. A 5 month might be coming into some change. A 6 month, there's a tone of love. 7 months, some personal growth. 8 month, manifestation. 9 month, completion. Okay, so jump down to the descriptions because there are going to be 9 piles here to get into your reading. And yeah, I will see you guys there. Hello, month number 1. You guys are here. If you have done the calculations in October 2024, holds a 1 vibration for you guys. And that would mean that you have been through 9 months of a certain cycle in your life. And in September, you may have felt like you were holding some sort of big boundaries, coming into, some more integrated wisdom around something in your life and tying up a lot of loose ends at the same time. This month is all about planting new seeds. So along with that, in a 1 month, there can be a tendency to kind of have a little bit of tornado energy where you're kind of clearing the way, clearing out debris, clearing out things that no longer feel authentic to you or that you're feeling passionate about. It's a time to just clear out a lot of stuff, which can make a little bit of a mess. And then, so there's kind of like within the 1 month, there is sort of a progression of things that happens. It's first about like getting rid of that dead weight, getting rid of the things that just feel like baggage now, that just feel like clutter. So making a little bit of a mess to clear some things out. And then once you have some space, and this can be, 3D material objects, this can be mental clutter, this can be emotional clutter, this can be social clutter, it can be all kinds of clutter that you just feel like it's time to clear the slate. But there's some work involved in that. Before you get to, now that you have, you've cleared some space for something new to come in. And so once you've kind of done that work of feeling like you've gone through this a little bit of like a tornado energy, then you start to feel yourself connect to new things, new impulses, fresh openings, fresh possibility. And there can be impulse with that this month, but more than anything, it's about creating intentions. It's about planting the seeds. It's about just connecting to new possibility. Every once in a while, that will be something really dramatic and in your face, like a new job or a new car or a new, like something really specific and literally new comes in. But I feel like typically it's more about just feeling connected to new passions, feeling connected to new intentions, and kind of planting the seeds of what is to come over the next 9 months. And so there is a vibration of new beginnings, but literal new beginnings may take a couple of months to actually kind of break through in your life. But yeah, like I said, every once in a while, sometimes, maybe you are in a 3-year, 3s tend to come with that breakthrough energy or something. And so the 1 matched with that 3 brings kind of a more quickened new beginning. So it is possible that you have something literally, a new pivot that takes place or a new path that becomes wide open or comes your way. But for the majority of you, it's like laying the groundwork, planting the seeds, connecting to new passion and new possibility. Okay, so that said, generally, let's do some oracle cards to see what the cards want to reveal about October holding a 1 vibration for those of you that are here. I'm feeling this card. And we've got the Cayman and Poppy with dreams. And so that does, to me, kind of confirm what I was saying, that for a lot of you, this may be more of a month about connecting to new dreams, about allowing yourself to ask, what if I allowed myself to dream about this? What if I allowed myself to plant a seed that was really dramatic, that would shake up my life in different ways? What if, the what ifs, what if I told myself I was good enough to have this kind of thing in my life, or this kind of opening or opportunity, or willpower, or, like whatever it is, it's like, really get in touch with what your authentic dreams are. The 1 number really can help us to get in touch with our authenticity, even if that means it shakes up our life in uncomfortable ways. So allow yourself to dream, allow yourself to ask those questions that might be like, I do have this dream, but if I got that dream, that would really, create some upheaval in my life that might be uncomfortable. But still, what if? Allow yourself to dream a little bit. And I think your inner voice will tell you if it is the right time to have that dream, if it is something your soul path is really ready to leap towards, open to, right? Or if this is a dream you need to plant in a little bit of a longer way, like yeah, I have connected to this new dream, but I think that's like a 5-year trajectory. Your inner self will kind of tell you, help you to gauge, but do dare to dream about what your soul authentically wants. Yeah. Okay, so let's get an Earth Alchemy card as well. Oops. And we've got green, epidote, and star jasmine with restructure, identifying, reframing, enhancing. Yeah, so there may be. I love this. I love how this thread is going. It feels very clear and specific to me. I do think it's time for a restructure. I do think it's time in this one energy to say it's okay to shake things up. It's okay to reframe what I want. And it's okay to restructure some things in my life because of that. Yeah, that's uncomfortable. Yeah, that might kick up some storms in my life. But there's something that I'm identifying that I really would like to restructure and reframe some things in my life to make room for. What can I clear out to make room for this dream? And what is it that I need to restructure in my life to make room for that? How do I need to, what kinds of goals and steps and plans can I make to, give this a long-term trajectory? Ask that. This is a 9-month cycle. So say, okay, 9 months from now, where would I like to be with this dream that's coming through? What kind of restructuring, what kind of reframing do I need to consider and maybe take some initial steps towards to enhance something I'm identifying that's really connecting to a dream that's coming through, that feels authentic, that feels passionate and vibrant inside of me. Very cool. Okay, let's check in with the Priestesses of Light. See what they want to add to this thread. It's it's a pretty specific and clear thing coming through. Telepathy, transmission, perception, communication. There's like two sides of the same coin I'm feeling with this. There may be something that you are unconsciously sending messages out into the universe that you need to get a hold of to get your vibration right for this dream. But there's also some incoming transmissions that I think you need to clear, like some mental and emotional clutter. Talking about those different forms of clutter. To be able to receive some incoming transmissions and to clear out any debris that's getting in the way of you perceiving life correctly around you, because there are sort of communications and transmissions coming through that I think may spark that new dream or that identification of something new that seeds in you. So work on both sides of that. Work on any clutter or any transmissions you are consciously and unconsciously sending out that don't feel authentic to you anymore. And in clearing those out, start to really listen, because there's incoming ones that will help you realign, reframe something, and identify a new dream. A lot of more of that like subtle energy work is going to be needed. So it may be less about like clearing physical or material clutter and more about clearing out like mental and emotional, finding some spaciousness, finding quiet, using a lot of mindfulness doing some journaling work to investigate where you might be holding yourself to outdated limits, outdated beliefs and limits you've placed on yourself. How can you kind of and these would be things that I think are already on the surface that you're kind of starting to become aware of. Like, I don't feel like I think about myself in this way anymore. I don't believe these things about myself anymore. It feels like stuff that's like right on the surface, like coming to the surface of consciousness. And there's something about I think some journaling work to kind of explore where some narratives and thoughts and beliefs and limits you've placed on yourself are starting to kind of dissolve and fall away. And then as you see those, as you witness those kind of dissolving and falling away, trying to make some space of quietness, of meditation, to allow new things to come in, new transmissions to be felt, communications to come into you. Yeah, really cool. Okay, let's get some tarot cards under each of these oracle cards as kind of a confirmation or context, a little extra. 9 of Earth under the dream. This could have something to do with work, the new dream coming in, something where you're really finding something that helps you to really tap into your own sovereignty in a way that feels right, in a way that feels pleasurable too. With the restructure, 9 of Fire. Yeah, and that is all about looking back on the past 9 months, reflecting, noticing in September, like, what are those integrations? What is the wisdom that came through? And how can those reflections sort of awaken me to identifying this new thing? What have I integrated? But it's taking a little bit of reflective work here, a little bit of looking back over your last 9 months to say, what was that about? What did I learn over the last 9 months? And what is that pointing me towards now? What is that helping me identify about what I want in the future? And then we've got 3 of Fire with the telepathy, under the telepathy. Yeah, your ship is coming in. Yes, absolutely. So this is completely on par with what I was feeling. It's like something is trying to come into you, trying to communicate with you. And it's like an opportunity, but this is like your ship coming in. But you have to be able to perceive it. You have to be open to whatever this is, being able to, in more of a telepathy manner, communicate to you, to transmit to you. So it's like a subtle, it's like your ship is coming in, but it's one that you have to perceive in very subtle ways. But it's like you're really going to identify, like allowing yourself to dream is really going to, and reflect and open up to being able to reframe things, restructure in life is really bringing in some subtle opening for you that's really beautiful, that's really like, that could be amazing if you do, there is this energy of here that like you do need to put some work in to get here. You may not perceive this ship coming in if you just kind of take this one energy and just kind of be impulsive and just kind of go and do whatever you want and not really take some time to do some reflection and some thoughtful dreaming and tapping into some more subtle things, and more just like tap into that one energy of like assert and go and do and do and do and seize the day. There is something a little more subtle coming through here where it's like, if you slow down a little bit with this one reflect, dream. There's something subtle that you could capture that is really potent, really powerful, and could really bring in some sovereignty for you. Yeah. All right. Happy October. I hope it's a beautiful one. It's very, mystical energy for a 1 vibration, which I kind of love. But nonetheless, there is that one there. There is like a new dream on it, trying to make its way into you. So yeah. All right. If this did resonate, I always appreciate support. Likes, shares, and subscribes are very easy ways to do that, and always grateful to see kind and thoughtful comments as well. But in general, just thank you for letting me read for you, and I will see you guys in future readings. Hello, Numerology number 2. Welcome to your October reading. If you're here, your October month number is a 2. It's possible that you also got an 11, and if that is the case, I like reading more in terms of the moving numbers, the month and year and day numbers. I like sticking to 1 through 9, but I do overlay if you get an 11 or a 22, which are the master numbers. I will overlay those just to add kind of a filter over it also. If you did get an 11, just know that on top of everything we talk about in the 2, there's also this vibration of you finding your individuation, you being open, having a little bit extra nervous sensitivity on your surface, because you're really upgrading kind of your spiritual connection to life and spiritual subtle energies coming in that are very inspiring. But even if you're an 11, there is at the core a 2 energy to your month as well. So if you are the 2, which you would be if you're here, it means that you are coming from a 1 month. You're coming from a month where you are planting seeds, where you are maybe identifying new possibility in life, it could have been a month where there was a lot of what felt like spring cleaning, whether that was physically, emotionally, mentally, which made way for maybe some new energies and passions to kind of arise in you, but it was more of a seed planting. And then this month, that kind of it's a little bit of a forceful energy with the 1, a little bit of clearing energy. Things start to slow down. So it's you've cleared the way, something's kind of sunk within and seated. But in the 2 month, that seed is still underground, but you have to slow down to create the right conditions for that seed to sprout, initially underground, and then eventually to break through the surface, which will come next month for you guys in November. That is when you'll have your breakthrough. But this is that month to tend to the soils of things. And that has a lot to do, and there's patience involved in that. And there's a lot of trust involved that the things you're doing right now to nurture and nourish life and create supportive systems is going to pay off and result in a breakthrough, because you don't see a lot of traction during this month. You have to have a lot of trust in the nourishing things being asked of you. So things that may come up are a lot of people needing your support. You may have to sacrifice a lot of what you want to be helpful to others and supportive to others. But something's happening in that. You're starting to see how support systems work. And sometimes you get taken advantage of in that 2 energy. But there's, sometimes we have to go through that to understand our boundaries, to understand where our limits are, and to understand where reciprocated support systems, what those look like and what those feel like. So paying attention that, like, when you do feel called on and asked to be helpful, what was the result of that? Did you feel like a doormat, or do you feel like that fostered some goodwill and you feel like now there's someone that you can lean on as well because they leaned on you, and it created a bond, and it created familiarity and positive support structures and systems in your life. And there's things that you will be able to identify when you go through it of like, oh, I can now see a pattern. Like, I felt really taken advantage of in this situation. They weren't really grateful. I don't feel like they would do the same for me. There's usually something that it's like, oh, I see certain behaviors, certain red flags. And it helps you to instill boundaries. So the next time a similar scenario kind of comes your way, you can be like, I'm not available to help, and know where your no's are. But sometimes you have to explore. Sometimes you have to go through being a doormat to experience that. And sometimes we may initially feel like a doormat, but then a month later recognize like, oh, actually, I do feel that coming back around. I do feel this did create some kind of threads of support in my life. And, so everyone goes through their own process with this, but it is this month to create these really stable, solid, supportive, nurturing, nourishing foundations. And it's also a month to tend to self-care as well. What nourishes you? So paying attention to all of that, but it is a month where things may feel like it slows down. It is a month where you may feel like you're sacrificing movement and growth in your own life, but it's because something's deepening. It's not actually nothing's actually stalled, nothing's stopped growing. It's actually deepening to find its foundations, its roots, its depth, and some soulfulness. And it does, like this keyword on the card, it does require patience this month. Okay, let's tap into some oracle cards to see what they want to add to your October 2 vibration. And we have Ladybug and Sweet Pea with happiness. Beautiful. I love that. I love seeing that. Even just those names, Ladybug, Sweet Pea, they just feel cozy. They feel lovely. They feel whimsical too. And the 2 can't, the 2 is ruled by the moon. It can be imaginative and whimsical. So I do think there's something on, to that as well. You may have, like, your imagination might be a little bit more rich this month. Your ability to slow down may be something that you actually enjoy doing. But I love seeing this keyword happiness as well. I do feel like the people, the environments, whatever is sort of around you this month, I think you're going to feel more than happy to be helpful. And I think you're going to feel that reciprocated at the same time. You're going to feel the activities you're asked to do, or that you do volunteer to do or offer up to do. It's like you'll feel happy to do them. It will feel enriching to be of use, to be of service, to be helpful, to be thoughtful. And I think it might create some bonds in your life that are also just like really, really lovely and soulful. So I feel this energy of this feeling kind of enjoyable. And even initially, if there's resistance initially, like once you get into it, being thoughtful, being helpful, allowing yourself to daydream and slow down and let your imagination kind of meander and wander. I don't know, I just feel whimsy here and I feel soulfulness here. However that comes, whether that's you just having a lot of space and time for imagination and wandering, or that's being really helpful and creating really positive, lovely, imaginative bonds through being helpful, whatever that is for you guys, it just feels cozy to me. I don't know why. And that coziness, feeling happy. Okay, let's get an Earth Alchemy Oracle. See what this wants to add. Anandalite and lemon balm, integrating energies, awakening, transitioning. When I look at this card, I feel, that lemon energy, and then like looking at the mountain landscape in the back of this that has like really clear, fresh air. I feel like a breath of fresh air in some way. And so that awakening energy, you may feel, to me, that's sort of like you may feel something this month. You may feel the energies, the vibration around you as a breath of fresh air. Maybe you were really maybe that one month in September was intense and you've been craving to kind of be able to slow down and smell the roses and kind of just be present to life. But there is that transitioning too and integrating energies. And so in this slowing down, in this kind of whimsical and breath of fresh air energy coming up, I do think that you're allowing things to kind of incubate within. You're allowing that space for the seed that's just been planted to kind of feel itself out, feel into the soils, explore into the depths, recognize that it is growing into something that will bring some transitions, that will sort of change. You may be sensing that like whatever September brought is bringing a pivot into your life in some way, and you're intuitively tapped into like, I need to give that space. I need to let that marinate within, because transitions and pivots, those can be a little bit jarring, but if I give them time to marinate, they're a little more subtle. They take place a little bit more organically. And I feel you tapping into that, just like knowing like something's integrating. So I'm just gonna, just be with that, just slow down and sense that and move with it and allow it to help me imagine and wander and daydream in ways that really subtly and softly awaken me to these transitions that are on my horizon. So it's like a very gentle, way of, gentle and organic way of accepting that, like a transition and pivot is on its way. You're just like leaning into it, but like sensing that it's time to just like feel that and tend to things and meander a little bit. Okay, so let's see what the priestesses of light want to add to this. Summoning power, instinct, intellect, control. Interesting. I definitely get a full moon vibe from this with the wolves in the background here, and it looks like she's literally framed, the priestess is literally framed by like a full moon. Summoning power. That instinct is coming through pretty strong for me. It's like allowing, what we've talked about before, allowing yourself to meander a little, to imagine a little bit. I think you're allowing your instinctual side, the intelligence of your instincts, to take the reins and kind of control things. I think you're able to get out of your mind this month and allow that instinctual intelligence to kind of lead you. And that's why you're able to, in a more organic and soft and gentle way, kind of move with that current of marination and incubation and letting things settle. And so it, kind of paradoxically, there is a lot of precision in what you're doing and a lot of control in what you're doing, but it's coming from this instinctual intelligence rather than mind intellect, you know. Yeah, so really lean into your instinctual side, your intuitive side. There is something kind of precise you're doing, but that precision is leading you into that more feminine energy of the way imagination takes you into your depth, the way being thoughtful and nurturing of others creates strong foundations. I think, you know, you're also going to be listening to your instinct in terms of what you say yes and no to, and being helpful to others and being a support for others. There's something like, don't try to reason that out when you feel the yeses or nos. Like, feel it in yourself. Like, that's a no for me or that's a yes for me. I think you actually have a lot of intelligence in your instincts about that. And I think you'll make some really good decisions in that way. Okay, let's do some tarot cards under each of these to get just like a little bit more context. 10 of Air under happiness. Yeah, you're letting go of mind. Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, I think in October you're finding a way to, it's like September and even the 9 months before September, you may have really been on a mind trip. Maybe you were learning a lot or needing to use your mind a lot to solve some problems, or at work or whatever it was. But I do sense that there's been like a lot of mental energy, thought energy, mind traps that you've kind of come to your limit with. And I see, because this is coming under the happiness and the ladybug and sweet pea, which to me just conjured so much imagination and soulfulness. It's like, I think in October you're finding a way to like move out of that, like shift paradigms, move out of mind and more into soul and heart. And that 2 vibration is really, really helping you to do that, to move more into that instinct and intuition and heart, and like really being able to drop mind. And it's going to bring a lot of happiness. It's going to feel better to you. Okay. Transformation. Beautiful. Under integrating energies, awakening, transitioning. Yeah. This is all kind of like this internal process to me. Something is transitioning. Something is incubating. And I think you're just like giving life space and yourself space to allow that to happen. And I do think there will be these moments of awakenings during October where you're like, oh, I see. And in connection with the 2, maybe it's sort of like, oh, I see the point of being helpful. I see the point of having really solid support systems. I see the point and the meaning and the depth that is created in my life by waking up to what nurturing others means, and what nurturing myself means, and what it means to be more in this darker yin territory of instinct and intuition, rather than the yang territory of mind and reason and logic. There's something that's balancing me in this, and that's transforming me and awakening me and integrating like a new way of perceiving and dreaming in life. And I think it has a lot to do with like understanding what nourishing environments are and how you play a lot in cultivating that in your own life, by nourishing yourself and nourishing others as well. Okay, last card. This one wants to come out. Messenger of Earth. And look at this, the Priestess of Light, she's holding up an antler. And then in the Messenger of Earth, she's wearing, they're more sticks, but they're fastened to her like antlers. And it does feel like these very kind of instinctual messages, like I oftentimes will look at antlers as like you're receiving messages from spirit or the universe or source, but because there is this kind of darker yin and earth energy here, it's like I think you're receiving like your body's messages more deeply, your intuitive messages more deeply, are like more sensitive. Your boundaries are more sensitive. Your understanding of nourishing exchanges is more sensitive, is what it feels like here. And so you're really tuned in October, or learning to tune in October to messages of nourishment. What do nourishing messages feel like in a vibration? What is real nourishment? What does that vibration feel like? And how can I sense when that's not right and when it is right? So there's a lot of Libra energy in October too. And so I do think that there's also exchange energy coming in here, of like really on this like more resonant vibration, really being attuned to the resonance of nourishment and being able to recognize quite sensitively and quickly when another or a circumstance or an environment is not nourishing, where you need to draw those boundaries and with your instinct and intuition say like, I can't logically explain to you, but it is a no. There's a no here. Or I can't logically explain to you, but I want to give a yes here. I want to give work to create supportive networks and systems here, or foundations here, but this one, something's off. On the surface, appearance-wise, it might be hard to reckon with. It might seem like the right thing to invest my heart and energy and soul in, but some resonance is off. I think you're being very, very sensitive and attuned to those yeses and nos in that way. Really cool. So yeah, I do think you're awakening, you're transforming, you're transitioning to what that frequency of nourishment is, when it's right and when it's wrong. And that when it's right, it does lead to very imaginative, soulful things. It leads to space. It leads to reciprocity. And just like, I don't know, even some whimsy, but some soulfulness, depth, right? Beautiful. It was a really beautiful vibration coming through with this. I don't know. I feel something with like that Libra energy that a lot of October has, maybe entangled in that for you guys. But yeah, there's something really beautiful coming here. So good luck in October. I hope it is like one that you have these breakthroughs of like support systems and nourishment and what that means and how you attune to it. If this reading resonated, I always appreciate support, likes, shares, and subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. In general, just thank you for being here and letting me read for you, and I hope to see you in future readings. Hello, pile 3. If you guys are here, October for you has a 3 vibration around it. One of my favorite month, year, and day numbers to experience holds a lot of excitement. So in August, you would have been clearing paths, planting new seeds, connecting to new passions. In September, it was about kind of slowing down to create, more supportive conditions, nourishment, helpfulness, support systems in life. And then in this month, come to October, it's sort of like the seed was planted in August. You created the right soils for it in September so that the seed could break and start rooting downward. And now in October, you're about to break through the surface in whatever 9-month journey you're going on. So whatever you planted in August, you may feel something breakthrough for you in October. And the 3 energy comes with this new feeling of expressiveness, of a little bit of playfulness and color, but also you may just have, a couple of moments in October, 2 or 3 days in the month, or for some of you even more, where it's like you feel like some kind of breakthrough happens. Like, oh, aha, yes. This thing I've been incubating is actually leading to this thing that I didn't know what that would look like, but it does hold the energy of what I was looking for. It looks different than what that dream was, but this is real and it does align to the energy I was looking for. And it does, these moments of breakthrough. But generally just helping that to happen means moving things around. It means expressing. It means tapping into a little bit more colorful energy in your month. So just share your heart, share what's on your mind, share things into the world, and watch as you have these moments that coalesce, that create these kind of aha breakthrough feelings, or literal possibilities, or opportunities. Sometimes it's just more like, oh, I understand something and I see where I want to go, and sometimes it is more literal and like something more concrete takes place that's a breakthrough. Okay, so that said, let's do a few oracle cards to see how the energy of October wants to entangle with this 3 vibration for you guys. And we have, this is the Ram and Dahlia determination. And I always think of Rams as like very Aries-esque energy. So I feel like you're going to have a lot of willpower, a lot of assertive energy in you, a lot of impulse and eagerness, kind of like charging headfirst into life this month. And I love that kind of determination energy attached to this as well. So sort of the energy I get is like eye on the prize, go and get it. I'm here to, go after what I want type of energy coming through here. So yeah, for a lot of you, I think your energy is going to be up, your determination, your focus, your clarity. I think you're going to kind of like have your eye on the prize and be willing to kind of put yourself out there, to jump into life, to, go after what you want kind of thing. So really great. Okay, let's get an Earth Alchemy card. Jade and Pink Lotus, sink into silence, reflection, and tranquility. Oh, that's interesting because that's a very kind of, I don't know if I would say opposite, but very different energy than the Ram and Dahlia brought up. Sink into silence, reflection, and tranquility. That feels like it's bringing up some of the Libra energy that October holds for a good portion of October holds Libra energy, and it is sort of an air energy, and it's about balancing and harmonizing. So, and Libra is the opposite sign to Aries, so I do feel like there's this tempering here of like, yes, when you feel those impulses and those passions, like, yes, charge towards it, use that determination to go and get something. But it almost feels like like the cheetah sprint, where it will stalk something and then it will go at this, it's like the fastest land animal, but it can't sustain that sprint for very long. And then the recuperation it needs between those sprints is really, really long, as opposed to maybe like other predator cats that don't exert so much in that sprint. They don't need as much recovery between hunts, But I feel sort of like that cheetah energy coming on, where it's like, when you see something you want, you're going to sprint and go for it full force, but then you might need this extra time between those sprints in October to kind of recharge, recenter, recuperate a little bit, find your balance. So I feel like there might be, like 2 or 3 moments of, a day or 2 in October where you're just like making some really, really big, powerful, quick, fast strides. And then these moments in between where it's like getting really silent, meditation, finding that clarity, doing some rejuvenation so that you can go super fast again. For others of you, it might be more like, every day between 11 and 2, I'm going to go hard, but I'm going to be meditative in the morning, take my mornings gentle, and I'm turning off at like, really taking my evenings more gently. It might be more like that, whatever makes sense to you. But there is this tempering thing coming up of like, balance that assertive, energetic, determined energy with some, decompression, vagus nerve exercises, getting your nervous system calm, to help you come back into clarity, come back into center, come back into your own energy so that you can again go hard at something, but it's like these intervals sort of energy coming through here. Okay, let's see what the priestesses of light want to add into this. Yeah, healing earth, the power to give and receive healing. That giving and receiving, that is so Libra to me. And so that's like coming through hardcore here. It's like, where's that tempered balance? But that even adds another angle to this. You have the determination, which is more of the like giving or asserting or acting energy. And then you have to temper that with some downtime, recuperating, recentering, calming your nervous system, getting clear again. But also, how do you need to temper that assertive, active, go get it energy with like things that you could receive, things that just want to come to you? How can you open your heart to receive things also? So there's a lot of dimensions of balance and harmonizing going through here. And tying this all back to that 3 energy, which is, to me, has a lot to do with breakthroughs. You may be having breakthroughs this month of like how to find that balance of giving and receiving, acting and recuperating. Like, where are those really beautiful, resonant ways of being that really temper you, that really bring a balance and harmony to your life? I think you're having breakthroughs of like how to integrate all of these things in you to feel more balanced, to feel that you do receive, but you also do assert, that you do have willpower and go hard, but you also take care of yourself and know how to nourish and rejuvenate when you need to. It's just like, yeah, you're really coming into this system of like understanding a sense of being, really. Okay, let's get some tarot cards under each of these just as a little extra context. Six of Waters under the Determination. Oh, that's very interesting. You may be like this may be something like as a child or when you were younger. It's like this was intuitive to you, how to give and receive, how to assert and rejuvenate, or exert and rejuvenate, give, receive, active, receptive. You may have been somewhat intuitive with that when you were younger, or there may have been somebody, a parent or a sibling or a friend or a family friend or a teacher or something that like you saw this and like they just felt so balanced to you that you're really like in a powerful way kind of remembering this month and using that as a model. That remembering is helping you to really emotionally attach to wanting to feel this way, to wanting to have a breakthrough in that way of being that's just like really tempered and balanced and harmonious. There's like some strong emotions and memories coming up that are helping you to re-tap into some modeling or way of being that's stored in your memory somewhere. But definitely like some nostalgia and some memory and emotion is really helping you to tune into this, to churn this up, to explore it and feel it and connect to it really potently. And then we've got the Hermit, which is the 9th major arcana under Jade and Pink Lotus, Sink into Silence. And the Hermit is all about, it has like this spiritual growth element to it. It is tapping into its own instincts. It knows how to recognize what's purposeful in life and kind of shed old objectives and old ways of being where you were doing things for other or doing what was expected or doing what was normalized, and really finding your unique instincts, your unique purpose, those things that are truly coming from deep within you. But it requires that like inner reflection. It requires some solitude. It requires like really getting in touch with yourself and really accepting yourself. And so there's something coming through with that too, where it's like you're really, I think going to have some breakthroughs with your own instincts, your own particular, unique, specific kind of purpose. Okay, last tarot card. Page of Earth under the Healing Earth. Power to give and receive healing. And then the page, it's a revived. I feel this is tying back to what I was saying about like past memories or childhood memories. It's like it's like you're unearthing and reviving something that you either saw and was modeled to you as a child or was around you as a child, or a way that you were as a child. Your inner child already kind of knew something, but you're reconnecting with a memory, whether it was about your own inner child or things that were modeled to your inner child, that your inner child identified that either way it was your inner child. But life happens as we grow up, and all sorts of layers get added onto us, overlays that aren't, some are right for us and some aren't, but there's something that you're like unearthing, recovering, reclaiming, to really drop back into something that your inner child really knew and was attracted to or was But either way, even if it was something that was modeled to you, but your inner child really took to, maybe it was just something that was you, but it never had the chance to integrate. Or maybe it was a way that you were, but life happens, as we grow up. But there's something you're reclaiming, you're remembering, you're tapping into the rich, potent nostalgia of. So there's this emotional charge and rich draw to recover this part and really draw out that instinct and purpose and original thing that is you, and actually like integrating it and developing it this month. At least breakthroughs on how to do that are coming this month. So kind of, pretty big breakthroughs here for this 3. Really rich, really potent, really powerful, and all around this like really balanced way of being. That just like, the feeling I get if all of these things were integrated, how you exert energy and recover, so act and rest, give and receive, are silent and meditative or boisterous and outgoing, like all of those ways of just finding and tempering all of those kind of polarities within a self. It's just like something's coming together with that, and it's creating like a very flowing quality of being that is able to move through life in a really wise, powerful, empowering way. Is when it's integrated, that's what it feels like to me. Like when that's integrated, you can move through life in this way that's just like very empowered and flowing. Okay, so that's where I'm going to leave you guys. If this resonated, I always appreciate support. Likes, shares, and subscribes are a great way to do that. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments. But in general, thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me read for you. And I'm wishing you a really beautiful, powerful September. And I will see you guys in future readings. Hello, Pile 4. If you guys are here, your October is under a 4-month vibration, which means you have come through since July was a 1, August was a 2, September was a 3. So you've come through these phases of this like 9-month cycle where you have cleared a path, connected to new passion, planted some kind of a seed, tended to the soils, created sort of support systems that allowed depth and for rich, nourishing soils for the seed to kind of open into. And then in that 3-month, which would have been in September, having some breakthroughs take place, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of like really seeing some traction with something. And then, so now as you come into October, a 4-month is about slowing that down. Taking the breakthroughs that happened where actual traction started taking place for you and creating foundations and structures for that. Where are you taking that? What kind of stability do you need to bring to things to more responsibly now build on this and take it forward in a way that's a little bit more measured and defined and has some practical steps and objectives and processes, that kind of stuff. And so the key word with that 4 vibration is perseverance. Everyone has their own relationship to each of the number vibrations. And I think maybe because I have some 4s in my own numerology, I kind of like that stabilite. There is that thing of being in the trenches and putting in some hard work with that 4 energy. But I personally like the 4 vibration. I like that process of like putting stability into place, making things more solid, right? Making things more real. So, and you know, that 4, you think of like the 4 corners of something or the 4 directions. It's orienting, it's defining, it's stabilizing, but it does take work. It does take perseverance. It does take some effort this month, but in like this slow, thoughtful way. It's not kind of like a boom, 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 fast, quick, you know, it's measured and thoughtful and planned and, yeah, so it's a month for pragmatism. It's a month to stabilize whatever breakthroughs started to happen. How can you create some structure around that? How can you create some goals around whatever breakthroughs came to ground it and stabilize it so that you can build upon it in the coming months? Okay, let's get some oracle cards to see how sort of the energy around October in general will kind of mingle with this 4 energy you're coming into. What is it all bringing? So we've got turquoise and forget-me-not with balance. Cracking open, deep healing, balancing karma. Interesting. So that definitely brings up that energy of cause and effect. You may see in really real terms this month actions, the result of past actions, and needing to like be able to see, I am here because of this that I did a few months ago. Because I do think this is referring to since July, since the start of that 1 energy in this 9 cycle of 9. So since July, you may be seeing in October, like, okay, things that started since July, I'm seeing some cause and effect here. It could, I mean, I do want to break out of that a little bit because we also have like, you know, other bigger, longer term cycles that happen throughout the year, and Libra season does tap into that cause and effect. So, and that's usually pointing towards the Aries energy, which would have been like end of March into April. So you may also be seeing some cause and effect. It could either be, you know, to me it feels like seeing some cause and effect of things you've implemented since July, or seeing some cause and effect from things you initiated or that came up in Aries season. So we'll just say April-ish or end of March. And facing those cause and effects, whether that effect is good or difficult, it's, you know, that karma is about facing that cause and effect. It's not like some random thing that happens. It's facing the cause and effect of things. And sometimes maybe the effect you're seeing is positive because the cause was thoughtful, you know, or it could be difficult. Whatever it is, there's something you're looking at this month that it's being reflected to you. You're understanding the actions you take and the consequences those bring, positive or negative. You may have a little bit of both. You may have overwhelming positive, overwhelming negative, whatever it is. You're confronting it this season, and there's something about that that's helping you to recognize patterns in behavior, recognize aspects of shadow and light in yourself, recognize certain levels of maturity that you've gained or that you need. But it's bringing a lot of self-growth, whatever it is. It's bringing a lot of recognition and understanding your psyche, I think. But ultimately, whatever gets reflected to you, whatever that cause and effect is that you have to face, it is going to help you to integrate a more balanced whole self. And something about that is what's needed to create stability for this, whatever you're building upon at the moment. Whatever stability and foundation and definition you need to bring into your life in October with that 4 vibration, you're gaining some understanding about that through really, integrating a new sense of balance within you through what you're having to see and have mirrored to you about, cause and effect, action and consequence. Okay, let's get another oracle card. We've got the Badger and Ginkgo, healing wounds. Yeah, and this does say cracking open, deep healing. So whatever you are seeing, positive, difficult, whatever it is, it's like it is opening you up. It is helping you to see yourself more clearly, to see your behaviors more clearly. Maybe you're more mature than you realized you were, but what gets mirrored to you, you see like, oh wow, like I actually handled that so gracefully, and now the result of that I'm being confronted with is showing me some maturity, and that's very healing to me to see a certain maturity that I've grown into. For others of you, you could be seeing things where you were blind to some behaviors that weren't great, or some patterns that needed to be seen, that were kind of in your shadow that you weren't aware of. But whatever it is, positive, negative, neutral, whatever you're seeing, whether it's like a recognition of some growth you've developed into and being proud of that and that feeling healing, or seeing something that needed to be seen that you weren't aware of and that cracking you open to do some healing. Whatever it is, it's like there is, whatever way it goes, there's going to be healing with it, which is always amazing. And that healing is going to allow you to build in a much more stable way, in a much more grounded, practical, stable way in life. Or at least in whatever is this your particular 9-month journey is about. But I think it's even bigger than that. I think there's just some overall like beautiful healing coming through, but just in its alignment with where you are, that is going to help you to build much more stable kinds of foundations for what you're doing at the moment. Okay, Priestesses of Light, we've got Sacred Purpose, Eternal Flame, Ancestral Legacy. Ooh, very cool. You may be seeing some things this month. We all have rich ancestries that we come from, and a lot of like inherited gifts and wounds and traits that kind of got designed into passed on DNA and epigenetics and just traits in general. And I definitely, I think when you do any sort of self-improvement and work on yourself, you can improve your epigenetics, like how your DNA is being expressed. But I also believe that there's a timing aspect when you overlay astrology, that sometimes there are things in your genetics that through certain things in your chart suddenly get turned on, that have always been there, but they just haven't been able to express until something happened in your chart. And that's what this feels like to me, is that the healing you're coming into, whatever you're facing, whatever cause and effect you're starting to understand, the recognition of whatever you understand this month is going to unravel something that was tightened in your epigenetics that allows more expression and more to come to the surface that is from your ancestral line. Some kind of, but it feels like a gift. It feels like a trait and a gift that's really sacred, that has some kind of key to purpose in your life, even if it's just in the next year or two or in more broadly. But something in whatever kind of healing you're going through and recognizing and seeing and witnessing this month is like changing some epigenetics for you, and turning on some ancestral trait, allowing some ancestral trait to start to express, and it feeling very sacred, and it feeling like you're getting in touch with an aspect of you that you knew on some even unconscious level was there, but just could never quite touch, right? And it feels like it's being unleashed. And I love that eternal flame there too, where it's like it's turning something on in you that you recognize as like deep-seated and long-lasting, and I don't know, just like part of your soul's mission, part of what you came here to do is like really being recognized this month. I mean, that's pretty huge for some, I mean, when we have those moments, it's always interesting when you come to just like, this is just about a month thing, so like nothing too crazy could happen, right? But sometimes these big things only take a moment, and there's something you're seeing here, something's unraveling in you, unleashed in you, and it could really change the way you start to define life, build foundations in life, stabilize life. You may start to build foundations that can hold this new thing that is being unleashed in you, this new sacred purpose that comes alive, that appears, that develops in you, that you have that sense that it's like, that it's part of your lineage somehow. Okay. Very mysterious and powerful, and wow. Okay, so let's get some tarot cards to put under each of these oracle just for a little extra context. The Star with balance, cracking open, deep healing, balancing karma. So this feels very, very positive, like whatever that balance is that you come into, that cracking open and that balancing karma that happens, it is helping you to see your future in a very different and hopeful way. Yeah. I don't know. I think you're starting to envision a very different trajectory for yourself because you're seeing yourself very differently. Oops. Through what's getting mirrored to you or what you start to witness. And the Chariot with that badger and ginkgo and healing wounds. Yeah, I mean, this is so interesting because I would think with that healing wounds and deep healing and cracking open that it would be like this really intense month of like learning hard lessons and seeing patterns and behaviors you hadn't seen in yourself that needed to be seen, that were a little in the shadow. But I kept feeling this need to bring up that like But what if it's that you see that you've matured in ways you hadn't quite acknowledged or seen? And I kind of, these two cards, Star and Chariot coming out, help to confirm where that feeling was coming from. I actually think for a lot of you, you're seeing, you're starting to recognize ways in which you've grown up that you hadn't quite, recognized yet. And so that mirroring and that reflecting back to you and starting to see some results from some growth that you've come into is like very empowering, and it's helping you to see more for yourself, brighter things for yourself, and also to know how to pull things together to move forward in life. Exactly what foundations you do need, clarity coming in around like, oh, I can see what I want in my future because of what I'm starting to recognize about what's waking up in me and some growth I've had. And so I'm feeling a lot more clear about the kind of foundations I need in order for this all to pull together and to move it somewhere. So I don't know what to say, but this is one of those months I think you're gonna, in like years gone by, look back on and be like, yeah, October 2024 was like a turning point for me. I really got it together. I really came into some understandings about how I had grown up and where I want to grow. And I really turned a corner there. And I really, with going back to the 4, really changed the foundations, how I was building foundations, how I knew how to bring stability to things. Yeah, very cool. And then Page of Fire under that. Oh, I love that. Under Sacred Purpose, Eternal Flame. Yeah, something's newly turning on, but it's always, it's a trait in your genetics from your ancestry that's been like under wound up, in your epigenetics. It's been tightened. It hasn't been able to be expressed for some reason. But personal developmental work that you have worked on and timing together has unleashed this, and it's like you recognize it immediately. I think when you see it, you'll say like, okay, maybe I wasn't always conscious of it, but on some level I unconsciously, like, this doesn't feel alien to me. I recognize it immediately, whatever is unleashing in you. But even though it's deep within me, even though I recognize it, it's still new to me in this life. And because of that, it feels refreshing. It's filling me with a new sense of creative wonder, of passion and eagerness, and feeling that a new sense of flame for life. Wow. I don't know. Okay. 4 months. Once October is done, come back and tell me what this was for you. Very fascinating. Okay, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. If this resonated, I always appreciate support, likes, shares, subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And yeah, just thank you for being here too, letting me read for you, and I will see you in future readings. Hello, Pile 5. If you guys are here, your October vibration or month number is a number 5. So jumping in, let's cover what that generally means, and then we'll do some cards to look at the energies of October and how they are mingling with this vibration for you. So the 5th number, this is sort of like you are, you've come to that basically midpoint in your cycle of 9 months that we go through. Something has stabilized, something has grown, something is being built upon at this point in your cycle of 9. But also at this point, there can be a discontent when 5 comes in. There can be a feeling of being a little bit stuck. And, so if you were to put the numbers of 1 through 9 in a square, you have on the top row 1, 2, 3, the second row 4, 5, 6, the bottom row 7, 8, 9, and 5 is the one in the center. It's the only number in a square with the 9 numbers, kind of snaking around, that isn't at an edge, that doesn't touch an outer boundary. It's stuck in the center. And so that 5 energy really fights to try and break itself free of something. So there can be a lot of need to communicate, to move things, to experiment. But the underlying thing that's going on there is trying to get something unstuck. My philosophy here too is that at this sort of midpoint, you're moving from having found, with the number 1, you're planting a seed as kind of conceptual, and then kind of moving that into more of a tangible realm. And then at the 4th part of 9, so for you last month in September, something became very tangible, something became more concrete about what's going on for you right now. And after that, it's where do you go from that? You need to find a higher vibration. And 5 is this number that's trying to bridge things that are more tangible and concrete to something that's a little bit more meaningful and spiritual. And to me, that's what that stuck in the center thing is how am I creating this bridge? What does this mean to me? But what that sensation can feel like, because that's kind of an unconscious thing, is that something's stuck, something needs to be shaken up, something needs there's this need to kind of break out of a conformed something, something that's more conformed. And it's what's really going on is trying to find a meaning, something in the higher vibrational realm going on here. So if you come into October and suddenly just feel this need to kind of like a frustration within you, or this need to just break free of something and experiment, it could be that you're really trying, pay attention to that, because when you do become conscious of it, some of that tension within eases a little bit, or instability eases a little bit. Or not, I wouldn't say instability, but unsureness can ease a little bit when you recognize that you're trying to move something from concrete to a little more spiritual, trying to find that more higher vibrational meaning to something. And then you can give more intention to how you're moving things, how you're experimenting, how you're trying to shake or change things up. You can bring a little more intention to that if you understand what that frustrated energy can be about. Okay, so let's do some oracle cards to see how this year's October and the energies going on with that might be mingling with your 5 vibration number. Let's see, we've got the antelope and wheat with nourishment. Interesting. Definitely feels like something that might help you to feel more at ease in trying to create this bridge right now, is to do things that soften the edge of tensions within, things that nourish you, which help you to settle inner frictions, inner frustrations. How can you care for yourself to take a little bit of edge off of that, to take a little bit of roughness off of that? It does feel like this, like trying to find ways to soften the edges of maybe some frustrations being felt, and so leaning into like self-care, leaning into things that really bring a sense of nourishment to your soul. Okay, let's get an Earth Alchemy card. Amethyst and passion flower with violet flame. Transmuting, breaking addictions, nervous system. And that's why nourishment is coming through is yeah, like that 5 can bring a lot of nervous energy. And so I feel like the antelope and wheat are giving advice on how to deal with that. Like nourish, self-care, tenderness, gentleness with yourself, because there are some nervous energies, there are some things you're trying to transmute as you move from more base frequencies to higher frequencies. That does involve needing to do some transmutation of energy. It does involve needing to recycle heavier things to create more ethereal things in your life. And then this also says breaking addictions. And so in that 5 frustration and trying to bridge, there could be some attachment to more of that concrete realm that may be hard for you for some reason. That might feel more stable to kind of lean into what's already been known, what's already been given a foundation, and what's more concrete, while like your soul and your growth is pulling at you to, you know, transform and mold and find that more ethereal tone. But what's, you know, that there's something unsure in that though, and so what's comfortable is like the known. And so that, to me, breaking addictions feels more like that, like wanting to stay in the comfort zone, but ultimately that disquiet and that frustration will win out, because your nervous system will kind of turn on. So it's like, be gentle with this process, give yourself some self-care, be, you know, speak kindly to yourself. When you notice a nervous energy, do things to ground it, but also challenge yourself to move, to reach for something a little bit more ethereal and spiritual in tone. And that will help to kind of, create that bridge and transmute some denser things into something more ethereal. That's, definitely what's coming up here. Okay, let's look to the priestesses of light, see what they want to talk about. And it says, river of blessings, release constraints. Yeah, and that helps to confirm what I was feeling about that breaking addictions, is like, by trying to cling to the comfort zones, to things that are more concrete and known in your world, you are limiting yourself. You are placing yourself in some constraints. And the 5 is in a constraint, right? It's in the center, it's blocked. And this is releasing of it. And I like this river of blessings. It does give this feeling of like, if you can kind of drop into more of a flow and more of a sense of gratitude, and really finding a sense of like listening to your heart, I feel like you'll find a flow that's a little bit more gentle and nourishing in moving from the lower to the higher realm of frequency, and a more gentle breaking of addiction, a more gentle release of constraint, a more gentle release of that attachment to a comfort zone, to concrete things. So it's like, lean into gentleness, lean into your heart, and that ability to move your frequency, find a greater sense of spirit and meaning versus concreteness and pragmatism, will just be more gentle. It will just be a softer thing that isn't so taxing on the nervous system. Okay, so let's get some tarot cards to go under each of these to add just like a little bit more context here. Ace of Water going under the antelope and wheat with nourishment. It's very interesting. I can't help but look at this pearl that the seahorse has sort of a grasp on. I do think like incubating within. There is like this sense of wisdom starting to form. I feel like it's a month where you're really needing to nourish that more ethereal thing that is coming further and further together, congealing more and more together, which will ultimately bring you like a refreshed sense of fulfillment and sense of self-love and love of life. There is some empowerment coming behind the frustration you start out with, but it's like easy does it here. Gentle is the road forward. It's okay to be a little bit protective of something a little more ethereal coming together within you. You don't need to, because like the way that this seahorse is holding that pearl, it just feels like very protective and very sacred too. So it's like, I don't know, it just, and then with that nourishment in this line of cards, it's like, it's okay to go slow. It's okay to be protective of something that's coming together. It's okay to feel a little bit vulnerable about what's coming together. You'll know the right time when this more spiritual, when the bridge to this more spiritual frequency is ready to kind of be, stepped into. So it's okay to take this pace with any frustration or nervousness you feel, to just easy does it, one step at a time, and between each step do something to nourish yourself, because it is like something is congealing, something is coming together, and once it feels together, once it feels clear, there will be this new sense of strength and empowerment that comes front and center. And I think that will come for you in November with the 6th month. But I feel like it's like that Ace of Water is coming together for you in October. It's congealing, but you need to sort of, just be gentle about it. And in terms of that 5, that need for change, that need, that frustration that gets you sort of exploring and experimenting, it's like, be maybe a little bit more fluid with this. Like, where is the universe pulling you? Where is the tide taking you? What is the current pulling you towards? Like, be a little bit responsive to things already kind of taking you where you're supposed to go. Especially because with seahorses, they will attach to like the kelp or the, like the foliage and whatever under the, on like the seafloor to keep them from float, because they don't really have great mechanisms to steer themselves and like move where they want. They're a little bit subject to the current of the ocean. And we see with this seahorse, it isn't attached to any foliage. It's allowing itself, like it's more protective of like something that's coming together within itself rather than where the environment is taking it, where it's being moved to. And so that is a clue to me that like the empowerment that's coming together within you is more about this inner cultivation and nourishment versus like what your external world looks like. Let that current just take you somewhere while you tend a little bit more inwardly. And that's like the important focus, I think. And then, yeah, I think come November, like a new empowerment and strength in your heart and sense of feeling will arise. King of Earth under the violet flame and transmuting, breaking addictions, nervous system. You do actually have, and this might be why you might resist reaching into these more spiritual frequencies, is something in you, at least right now, if not just naturally, is quite stable and secure in your grounding. And so naturally there's like a gravity with that, where you have like strength and authority and firmness. It can be hard to want to leave that behind. And so that's part of what that attachment is in terms of like letting go of the more concrete to reach to the more spiritual. It's like, well, I may not feel as in control there. I may not feel as strong in myself if I make these changes that take me to more spiritual vibrations, because I feel really strong in these more concrete things at the moment. And so that feels sort of like a complex that you're going to have to face this month potentially, is sort of like where are you a little bit blind to almost some arrogance in a refusal to change? But ultimately the vibration you're in is going to enforce change. Yeah, but I see the tension here. I see the challenge here, that it's like, if you feel in control and concrete and secure and powerful in something, and then you're asked to give up that vibration, I think anyone would say no. Like I'm so, like asking someone to give up being a king to go explore spiritual realms, like that's a hard ask, right? But that's what this feels like, and it might help you to face some complexes you may have around staying in what's comfortable because you're solid in it, versus actually jumping into some unknowns and saying yes to growth and new and different kinds of challenges and unknowns. Okay, let's get a last tarot card. Oops, that one wants to come out. And then you've got the Four of Fire. So I do feel like that is a really good sign that, this king sort of bookended by this Ace of Water and Four of Fire is saying that, like, ultimately you'll find that ability to reach, to change, to take a leap into some unknowns, to say yes to some growth that may feel like it brings uncertainty. But what you're met with And I do feel the Ace of Water and the Four of Fire is more on like the back end of this month, or once you come into the 6th month in November. But well, let's just say it's like the last week of October. Maybe this is what comes in, is like you find your empowerment, you say yes to something new. You know deep within something new is congealing anyway, but you ultimately will find the strength to say yes, to take a leap into some unknowns and something a little bit more ethereal. And what you will be met with is a lot of blessings, a lot of things to celebrate, new kinds of commitments, new kinds of just a new sense of how you want to celebrate life, and feeling a sense of wanting to celebrate life. Because like a different quality of foundation is found, a different quality of light within you is found that brings you like a sense of direction, a sense of a threshold that feels enlivening, that feels right, that feels exciting and beautiful. So yeah, I mean, not without its challenges, but anytime, I don't know, my experience anyway is like when I go through 5 months, there's usually a lot of like angst in me. But hopefully just like knowing why that is will help, it always helps when I acknowledge and like, because you can be in the month and at the start be like, oh yeah, it's a 5 month, I'm going to have angst, but you forget pretty quickly and you're not always thinking about the numerology of a month. And then I get into it and suddenly, there's all these angsty things that come up and frustrations. And then at like mid-month, all of a sudden I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm in a 5 month. So hopefully at points you can anchor back into that, remember it at moments. And it just helps, like every time I get that and I'm like, oh, I'm in a 5 day or a 5 month or, a 5 year, all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, that's why this is present. And then it's like easier. It's not, I don't feel so charged about it. But there are like on the back end of this, after that work, after getting, saying yes to some changes, you're going to be met with some really great, beautiful, positive things. So hopefully that also brings some reassurance and willingness to move with the current and the changes being asked of you this month. Okay, I hope that resonated. If so, I always appreciate support. Likes, shares, subscribes are great ways to do that, easy ways to do that. Ooh, sorry, something got caught in my throat. Kind and thoughtful comments are something I always love seeing, and they make me smile. And definitely just thank you for being here, letting me read for you, and I wish you a beautiful October, and I will see you guys in future readings. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to your October reading and your numerology vibration. So if you're at this pile, your month number in numerology for October is going to be a 6 this year. So you are well into your 9-month journey in terms of month-to-month cycles. And you have made it from sort of the month before. So during September, you had a 5. So it could have been a little bit of an angsty month, a month where you either resisted changes or fought for changes one way or the other. It still brings a little bit of a tension and a restlessness and a wrestling. And that 5 is a number that is trying to bridge us from more concrete realms of this cycle of 9 into something a little bit more meaningful, more in that spiritual aspect of things. And so you've made it across the bridge. And now with the 6, there is this vibration of love that comes alive, this vibration of bringing heaven to earth. That Star of David is that 6 symbol. So the triangle that points upward, intersected by a triangle that points downward, and it has this meaning of bringing heaven to earth or earth to heaven, that midpoint, bringing them into each other. It's also this balance of equal yin and yang, of finding rhythm and harmony in things. But through that vibration of love that comes alive in 6, with that bridge having been crossed and integrated and more stable in a more being able to relate lower frequencies to higher frequencies and higher frequencies to lower frequencies. Within that point is like this beautiful, it's not quite what I would call like a midpoint energy, but it is sort of like the heart energy, I guess you would say, in numerology. There can be a sense of duty also that comes on at this point. So even though there's this beautiful energy that comes out of 6, and it really can, if we allow it to and work with it, it can really beautify our lives. We can also find ourselves taking on more responsibility, feeling a greater sense of duty to things, having some higher ideals about things, and so allowing more pressures to be mounted on our shoulders out of that, certain virtues we are coming into and that are arising in a more idealistic way in us at this point. So along with this balanced, really beautiful, harmonious energy, there's also like extra duties that tend to come in here. So it could be a month where you're taking on extra responsibilities that you haven't really had on your plate in the several months prior to this. Okay, so let's do some oracle cards now. We're going to see how the energies in October 2024 want to mingle with your 6 vibration, and just get a little more like info about how this is all playing out for October. So we've got the Duck and Chrysanthemum with Luck. Ooh, I love that. That's really gorgeous. I don't know what else to say about that. Luck, stay open, stay positive, speak positively to yourself, about yourself, to others, about others. Find gratitude. Gratitude usually is like a luck attractor. I'm just trying to think of things that like help you open to the vibration of luck even more than you would naturally be with what's coming up here. It's like, use a gratitude journal, speak kindly to yourself and others, be open your heart, believe in miracles, believe in possibility and dreams, that kind of thing. Okay, let's get an Earth Alchemy card. Septarian Nodules, Way Shower. Shake up the system and cellular upgrades. Ooh, interesting. The cellular upgrades makes a lot of sense to me with 6 in general, because you have found that bridge to like a higher vibration, a more spiritual, a more idealistic vibration. And to me, that would kind of correlate with a cellular upgrade as well. But the shake up the system and way shower does indicate that it may come with like some pivots. You may find yourself making a few pivots in life, or some of the responsibilities coming your way may actually also be like opportunities that shift a little bit of like where you're going. The way shower also, like at that 6 energy, there is some wisdom there too. And so others may be attracted to wanting your advice on things. So like you may find yourself archetypally in kind of a position of a way shower, like guiding others, teaching others, But for yourself also, there may be shifts where like the way you're going is shaken a little bit, but in an upgraded way, in a positive way. But nevertheless, shakeups can be shakeups. They can be destabilizing, but with the luck attached, I feel like it will feel more exciting if something does really kind of shake up your direction. Yeah, luck and, just the words that are popping out to me: luck, love, upgrade. I think if a shakeup comes, it will feel exciting and fortunate. Okay, let's see what the priestesses of light want to add to this. Innovation, new creations. Oh, that's really beautiful. This is a really, really positive vibes coming off of you guys. And I love all of these deep sort of purples and blues and indigos. It definitely has that feeling of, and even my little petals from my bougainvillea that are more of the magenta violet range, it just feels a lot like the crown chakra and the third eye are like very alive in October for you. So a lot of like inner knowings and a lot of spiritual guidance coming through with that. So innovation and new creations, you may get a download, you may get new kinds of information or new inspirations that come through that bring you new like brilliant genius types of ideas. When I think of innovation, I think more of that genius, brilliance kind of thing, in the sense that there's something original, in the sense that there's something that pushes the envelope, even if it's just pushing your envelope. But comes with it has like, this card to me has a lot of sort of Aquarian type of energy with it. So a lot of sense of hope and a lot of sense of being able to see something different and new and positive about the future as well. But that excitement comes up too with that new creation and innovations. There is something exciting happening here for you. And I would say so far of the numbers I've done, this just feels like a really quite exciting month. So yeah, I like how whatever's going on in October's energies, and the 6 vibration in tandem it's a good concoction. Okay, let's get some tarot cards to go under each of these oracle cards for a little more context. Ooh. King of Air under luck. Trust your mind, trust the strategies, trust a certain sort of stability you feel in your ideas and strength you're coming into in intellect. I know this is under the luck card, but I can't help but feel a thread over to innovations and new creations. Like something's going on in your mental realm that's really finding its strength and fortitude and like a real authority in your intellect coming through here. And something about that is this springboard for this luck. Like the luck wouldn't have come unless, for whatever reason, your mind was in the spot it was in. Like in a really stable, strong, commanding place. So take care of your brain, eat nuts and fats, get rest, meditate. Anything that really takes care of your mind and your brain would be positive to do here. Queen of Earth under the way shower. Definitely also finding this, like coming into like really knowing how to nourish your life, your body, your environments, your finances, your possessions, maybe one of those specifically or all of them collectively, like really coming into the strength of knowing how to like nourish all of these, but in like a very confident, commanding way, in a very sure way. Just like a sure-footed nourishment of things 3D in the 3D realm. And something about that giving you a sureness of foot if you have to be a guide for others or if you have to make pivots. It's like your foot is very sure-footed right now and very nourished right now and very commanding right now. Man, the energy coming off of you guys is like really, you're in your element, I feel like, in October. Oh, wow. And then we have Magician under Innovation and New Creation. This is a manifesting month. Yeah, it's definitely something. You're creating something, you're manifesting something, you're waking up to powers you have. You're waking up to your ability to make dreams more real in your life, which does have that. I mean, you know, in a way, these cards can really talk to that bringing heaven to earth kind of energy, like really knowing how to bring higher vibrations down into the more concrete material realm, how to channel things and realize them, how to receive inspiration and manifest from it. So don't sleep on this month. There's really high frequencies of just growth and opportunity and upgrades and confidence coming through here. I mean, your guys' reading went really quickly compared to the other readings. Like, I feel like usually I've been like 24 minutes and we're at like 13 or 14 minutes. So I don't know what else to say. This went very quickly, but it was just like really straightforward, really positive. Just take advantage of this gorgeous energy. It should be a very productive, positive, empowering month for you guys, I feel like. So yeah, lean in, don't sleep on it. All right, so yeah, that's where I'm going to leave you guys. If this did resonate, I always appreciate support with likes, shares, subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well, and wishing you a really gorgeous October. And yeah, I will see you guys in future readings. Hello, welcome to your October numerology. If you guys are in this pile, 7 is the vibration of October for your month. So you have come quite far on your cycle of 9 in terms of your month cycles, and you've made it over to like really clearly into the higher realms, higher vibrations of this cycle of 9. You've sort of found your footing. You kind of probably been building on something. Last month in September may have come with a lot of duty and work, but also like beautifying life and finding your rhythms and balances and ways in which you have recognized like you can hold responsibility really well and bring productive energy to things and harmonizing energies to things. But as we come to 7, it's now time to find more specialized energy. And getting into your niche within this cycle isn't about hard work. It's a lot more about contemplation, about working with spiritual energies, channeling things, going down into deep dives and rabbit holes. There's a more sensitive sort of vibration around you as well. But it is more of this like allowing yourself to dream a little more, allowing yourself to sleep a little bit more, allowing yourself to contemplate a little bit more, or read a little bit more. It's not so much about this like toiling and nose to the grindstone type of energy. It's like giving a spaciousness to things to figure out a little bit more of a niche within what you've been building over the last 6 months, a little bit more of a spiritual meaningfulness to what things, what life is at the moment, where you're going. So just like allow a little bit more spaciousness in your life this month. Allow complexity to be fascinating and interesting and intriguing. Allow yourself to go down rabbit holes. Allow a little bit of easing off of like hard efforting into things. Especially because next month, when you come to the 8 month, that is the powerhouse moment of the cycle, and it will require a lot of energy and a lot of effort. So all the more reason, even though like this number in general just says it, but all the more reason knowing what's coming up to pull back, relax a little bit more this month. And I don't mean relax as in like lackadaisical and apathy and not caring about things, but just like contemplating things in a more spiritual way. Feeling into a new spiritual tone that you've arrived at, and allowing space to be able to plug into that and explore it and connect you to a lot of meaning and I don't know, just like awakenings as well. Okay, so going over, and the key word also on this particular card is personal growth with 7. And so I do think that with that kind of spiritual tone that you step into, and spaciousness and more niche things you come into, there is like really more specific instead of general like personal growth that happens. Okay, so let's do some oracle cards now, looking at how the energies of October 2024 interact with your 7-month vibration. Let's see how this more of a concoction of energies is working here. Let's see, we've got Weasel and Pine with introspection. I love that. I love seeing that the energy of October is allowing, like your environment, I feel like is going to allow you some space and time to contemplate and introspect and reflect and do a little bit more spiritual study or ethereal study or mystical study or scientific study, but things just like a little bit more questioning, right? Ask those questions, seek. It's sort of like a seeking month. And yeah, so this, I was specifically wanting to see how the energies of October coalesce with your 7 energy, and there's something harmonious. The month is saying it's fine to take some space. Like you should be given a little extra space than you are used to having to do a little bit of that personal growth and seeking and study and just meditating on life. Okay, an Earth Alchemy card. We have Azurite and Orchid with Lyran Stargate. Personal power, healing entanglements, and throat opening. Ooh, very interesting. So some of the personal growth that you may be coming into in October, and some of the insights you gain through introspection and seeking could have to do with like having some sudden awakenings or understandings that come in that bring you like more compassion for yourself or others, in terms of like with this healing entanglements, there may be some relational things and some power dynamics with personal power, some relational and power dynamic things going on that have been maybe complex for you. And especially with like October holding a lot of Libra energy, and then the planet that rules Libra will be in Scorpio, which is like entanglement energy, like relational, and then entanglement, which is about, you know, establishing trust with others, and then entangling with others in more power dynamics. So like the astrology of October is showing that some of the seeking and understandings and spiritual growth you come into may be things that help you to gain a better understanding of how to be compassionate with yourself or with others, or how to like move through and on from some complex, more kind of relational types of things. And the throat opening is like finding the right words, finding the right expressions even. It doesn't even have to be words, but the right expression, the expression you've needed to move past something, to find the wisdom of what you've been through and to move past it. And to, have gone through, like I really think in October, you'll go through some really profound personal growth that helps you to transcend some things that have been hard, and to find the right expression and right way to be gentle with yourself or with another or others or both, whatever comes up for you. Okay, let's see what the priestesses of light want to add here. Go with the flow, letting go, cleansing, and receiving. Yeah, there are things like you may be letting go of, in terms of these healing entanglements or personal power. You may be letting go of some of the, potentially relational tensions or power struggles, or that cleansing, that letting go may be like, maybe it's not letting go of the issue, but you might be letting go of some people that aren't good for you anymore. But it could go either way. Maybe you're able to find compassion and understanding and move through and get through things with others, or you're able to let go of others that you have found an understanding that just aren't good for you anymore. Not that they're not good, but like you might just be growing in different ways, and you're finding that that ability to let go, that ability to let things flow the way they're supposed to be flowing to or from you, and really allowing your heart to kind of be that thing that opens up and has a lot of wisdom and guidance that you're able to tap into about how to do something, how to work with things that you may be confronting this month that are, complex, or and then receiving as well. I do think it's more like receiving like an upgrade in wisdom, receiving an upgrade in that personal growth, receiving could even be like with that go with the flow, as you let go of certain things where the flow takes you, could feel like you're receiving like a whole new quality of things in your life. a whole new vibration of things in your life. So be open to receiving things that match the wisdom you've come into and the growth you've come into as well. Okay, let's get some tarot cards for each of these as well for a little more context. We've got Ace of Fire under introspection. Oh, that's so funny. I don't know if I've ever noticed on this card, there's like this little fairy that's sitting at the top of this lantern, holding it up. So hopefully you can see that too. Ace of Fire. I feel like this is like a new inspiration that comes through for you that really changes how you're perceiving certain complexities in your life. Yeah, it feels like a receiving of a new spark, receiving of a new inspiration that flips things on its head, that brings just like a whole new kind of set of understandings to you. A whole new way of holding compassion, self-compassion or compassion for others or for a situation, but also excitement for something new too. Okay. But all the more reason to allow some introspection, because the Ace of Fire coming right under that is like through allowing time and space for introspection is what is the thing that allows you to receive this spark or this inspiration that comes through. Seven of Waters, yeah, coming under that card that had sort of the complexities, the personal power, healing entanglements, throat openings. For me, always Seven of Waters has this thing of not all that glitters is gold. You're seeing through the facade of things, the appearance of things, and you're really getting specialized and I want to say you're getting very specialized in seeing the truth behind the surface. And that is something that is like maybe you've been working on for quite some time, but something clicks with it this month. And something that like you've had these intuitions or hunches that like not all is as it appears in things that are trying to seduce me or make me act a certain way or wanting me to respond in a certain way are like, and I've had, questions or doubts or something. It's like something's really clicking in this month that allows you to see things for what they are instead of what they're trying to appear to be. And that's exactly the thing that is like, it's like you're wising up to life, that allows you to find some compassion for like maybe how you've had some resistance or reasons why you've felt certain ways you felt for getting involved in certain things. It's just like it's clicking for you of like, why certain things have felt a particular way. And you're just, you're finding your power in those situations. You're finding the expression you need, the boundaries you need, the strength you need, the truth you need. But somehow within that, because sometimes if you come into that power, there can be sort of the angry justice kind of vibe, but here it's like you're just letting something go. You're just like, you've wised up to it and you're just like able to transcend it and let it go, cleanse it, and receive more truthful vibrations your way rather than illusionary vibrations and seductive vibrations and teasing vibrations. It's like you're going to start to receive much more truthful, powerful vibrations, because that throat opening, you're starting to, that's what I feel with that throat opening. You're starting to find the expression that matches like the wisdom and a certain spirit you've come into, that will start to attract things to you that finally feel right and truthful. And so that's what, to me, that receiving feels like. And then Page of Waters. So interesting. I feel like so many of the piles have had a page in this very last card, which that is, I don't know, that's fascinating. So for a universal thread, there's something fresh. By the end of October, something fresh is waking up. And for you, it's like reconnecting to a fresh, like a refreshed sense of emotion, of feeling, of love. There's just something that's softened and something that's reviving and something that's beautiful and innocent and new and precious in the way you're connecting to your feelings, connecting to your emotions, allowing things to move through you, allowing things to be cleansed and let go out of you. Yeah, it's beautiful. So just like a really fresh sense of like feeling sure and pure in your emotions and feelings and stuff, which, yeah, I think that's really gorgeous. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave you guys. Good luck in October. I hope it's really beautiful for you. It feels very, very profound. And yeah, I mean, obviously with that 7, it's just like a lot of really interesting, unique inner work with really profound kind of understandings that you're growing into. All right, if this did resonate, I always appreciate support with likes, shares, subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. In general, just thank you for letting me read for you and for being here. Yeah, I love doing it. So hope to see you in future readings. Hello, Pile 8. If you guys are here, your October numerology vibration is aligned with the 8 number. And this is coming into your power spot in the cycle of 9 that you are in terms of your monthly cycles. 8 has a lot to do with things that you've given space and time. Sort of like if you're at a center, you've planted a seed and you've allowed one loop of space to be given to that seed and one loop of time to be given to that seed, and then they reconverge at the center in this moment of power. And there's like so much energy that recongeals in this center moment for you guys. Like everything comes together. You've found your foundations with something, you've found a higher meaning, you've found certain sense of truth of things, and now you're just like sure-footed, in command, in control. Energy usually with 8, when I experience, like I watch my numerological days as well. And every time I come to an 8 day, the day before I'll be like, because 7, the number that comes before 8 is 7, and it's more of this spiritual, giving some time and space and dreaminess, and it's more of a lower energy feeling in terms of like wanting to physically be up and engaging in life. Even though it has like a high vibration to it, but I'll be like, oh my gosh, tomorrow's an 8. There's no way, there's no way I'm going to be productive tomorrow. I feel so spacey today. And without fail, every time that 8-day comes, it's just like my power turns on. And it's just like I get up, and from the moment I'm up, I'm like, know what I need to do. I have things to get done. Everything gets pulled together. I feel strong in it. I feel capable. I get so much more done. I'm effective. I'm in my, like in my power. So like when an 8 month, that's a whole month of this. And it is this manifestation month. Everything you've been building for 7 months is really coalescing now. And you're finding that explosive energy to know the vision, know what you want, know what needs to be done. You have the practicality, but you also have the spiritual wisdom and strength. And it's just like coalesce with the strength of like know exactly what I need to do to pull things together, to make things happen, to stand in my authority in a way that is enlivening, it's motivating, it's compassionate, but it's also strong and firm and determined and assertive. It's just like all the things kind of meld, and it's like you're just able to be and do everything you need to be and do. So yeah, powerhouse month. It is a month to, eye on the prize, focus. What is it you've been trying to manifest for months now? This is the month. Like, do it, right? Not to say, a whole month. There are obviously going to be days here and there that you hit your wall, but generally in this month, like, get to it, manifest the things, use the greater sense of surety, the greater sense of authority, the greater sense of determination that are coalesced in you to take action. And to assert your will a little bit. That this can be that vibration where, especially if you were to have an 8-year, but a month, a lot can be done in a month as well. But say you have been writing a book or studying acting, but you've always had this imposter syndrome, so you've never sent your stuff to, say you've written a lot of things and you've taken acting classes for ages, but you've always had that imposter syndrome of like, oh, I could never get an agent, and so you don't put yourself out there that much. But the 8 month or the 8th year is that time when you can really make things happen, and you can really stand in your confidence in a way that's attractive and magnetic, and you can really secure some of, take those big leaps, not these new impulses, but big leaps you've been sitting on. If you have any of those, it's a month to take those leaps you've been sitting on that you've been scared of. Because you have a little bit more magnetism and strength and confidence behind you with this vibration. Okay, let's see with some oracle cards how the energy generally of October 2024 sort of converges with your 8 vibration. What does that interaction bring up? The snail and huckleberry, trust in the invisible. Ooh, that's very mysterious. Trust in the invisible. So knowings that you're coming into, intuitions that come up in you, may not be just these new impulses out of nowhere things. there could be some really profound knowings that you start to have that you should trust in, that you should take action on, even if they seem illogical or irrational or impossible, whatever it is. It's like, or like, who would take that seriously? Or, like whatever it is, or like, who am I to, maybe you've never acted, but you have this sudden like knowing, like I should go try out for an extra part in that film that's filming in our neighborhood that, they put out a call for, extras or something. Or it's like a part of you may be like, why, what's the point other than just sort of an interesting experience? But there's like something deeper in you that's like, no, there's something meant to happen with that. And so maybe you go to that and suddenly like, a supporting actor drops out and you just happen to have a look or a vibe that they're like, can you do this? Or you're there and you meet someone interesting that opens up a whole new world to you that has nothing to do with acting. But it's like those things where you're drawn to do something, or like, I should call that person I haven't talked to in 8 years, or, like those like really random feeling things may have something potent behind what seems insignificant or silly or even like an inconvenience, or like random, just trust those things. Trust the things that come up that feel, like there's an unknown behind it. There's something invisible that you can't quite understand that's central to the knowing. Okay, let's see what the Earth Alchemy Oracle wants to add. Diamond Heart Seed Crystal, Golden Age Wisdom. DNA Activation, Lemuria, Priestess Awakening. Wow. Yeah, I mean, Priestess Awakening, Wisdom, something activating. Heart, we're talking about Diamond Heart, Seed Crystal. It's like something's turning, some kind of wisdom is turning on in you. And it does feel like your aura is taking on like a new quality, like a new luminosity or brightness or vibrancy or something. It's like something in that part of that invisible, like something sort of unseen but still perceived is like activating, is turning on in you. And it's like, get out in the world and use that. That's part of why you should be trusting the invisible. It's like something's in that more field of energy around you is really powerful for you this month. So go out and be in the world because it's really attractive too. It's really going to bring magnetic, positive, powerful things towards you. Okay, let's see what the Priestesses of Light want to add here. Ooh. Divine Feminine, magnetic, receptive power. You guys, you can't make that up. I kind of like that because like I when I experience eights, I tend to get a little bit more. I mean, I know with the 8 there is like, you're kind of holding the all of it, so there is yin and yang all entangled and held together beautifully, but I do tend to experience myself being a little bit more yang and assertive. But I guess if I think about it, like sometimes maybe you're not always aware of what the yin's doing, and it can be this very magnetic thing. And so, yeah, that's something I'm learning just now too, that like, even though I might, when I'm in an 8 energy, might be feeling like I'm being more yang than yin. My yin is just as strong, and it's also bringing things to me, and that's part of the magic of that 8, is like so much power is converging at once. But anyway, for you guys, divine feminine, magnetic, receptive power. And I was kind of thinking about that as I was going through these, where I was like, it kind of feels like they don't have to do that much, like things are coming to them, other than like trusting yourselves and being out in the world. And this kind of like confirms that, where I do feel that yang part of you. It's more just like go and do and be, and like be active, but be open to the unknowns, be open to random things coming towards you. You're I feel like the big manifestations that are coming through are things that are going to come to you, that you're going to receive. But I feel like you need to be out there showing, like putting your magnetism out there, putting your strength and confidence out in the world, to like go out and do things in the world. Because the more you move that around and touch things and are active, the more you've touched, that those ripples can reach and bring things back, kind of thing. It's like cast that wider net. But be open to what comes back to you in that net, and surprised by it, and fascinated by it, and amazed by it. That felt right. Be amazed by what comes back, and be open to being amazed by what comes to you, what you magnetically draw to you. I love how so much of it goes back to like trusting that invisible, trust in your magnetism, trust in something more vibrant or luminous, kind of turning on in that kind of auric energy you have. There's very cool things happening there. So fascinating. I love it. Okay, let's get some tarot under each of these to just get a little bit more. Oh, that one wants to fall right out. Context. And we have temptation, which for sure can make sense. So in a traditional tarot, that's the devil. With the 8, that can make sense. The 8 can be a little bit sort of like power hungry, and have some attachments to wanting certain status and reputation in the world. And I think this is where this is coming into, say, trust in the invisible, where it's like not everything is as it appears. Like only going where you perceive that there's power isn't necessarily going to be the thing that draws the right manifestations your way. So it's, to me, this is saying like keep an open mind when there's that trust in the invisible, when you feel called or knowing to do something that you may judge as like stupid, or that's not really me, or I wouldn't want to be perceived a certain way, so I don't want to do that. It's like try to throw certain judgments out, and don't limit yourself to doing only things that you perceive as like worthy of you. Like keep an open mind. Talk to that person at I don't know, the market that seems like a weirdo at first glance, but then if something in you is saying like, oh no, like what were they, there's something they just said that's sort of weird, like fascinating, like there's more under that, like keep digging. Don't write that person off as like uninteresting or a nobody, or whatever judgments you tend to have. Maybe you find that they're callous, or even that they're too they themselves are too like haughty or snobbish or something. Like whatever your typical judgments are, it's like rein them back, because there may be like in associations or things you wouldn't normally do because you might have judgments about them, that there might actually be some like gold to be found underneath things you would normally have judgment about. And that's where it's saying like trust in the invisible, because you might have these intuitions that you could very flippantly and easily shoo to the side because of some, normalized ways you have judgments. So keep an open mind, trust in those little intuitions and knowings that might seem counter to your norms. Because I don't know, I just get this feeling that there's some unusual ways and things that could happen this month if you stay a little more open-minded. 4 of air. Sorry, I need a sip of something. Pardon me. Okay. 4 of air, contemplation, meditation, some mindfulness. I think your mind is coming into a very like stable, calm place this month, which would make sense with an 8. And that in that ability to have a really stable, calm mind, you naturally can attract some silence and some even just natural mindfulness. When you're not trying to practice mindfulness, you can just naturally be a little bit more mindful. I think your mind is strong in that capacity this month, and so naturally you should be experiencing like a more calm, stable mind. And through that, you're able to hear those inner knowings and intuitions a little better that might be counter to what you normally kind of tune into. And it's part of, with that also coming under that sort of what feels like your aura taking on a new quality of luminosity or something. That's a main contributing factor, is like a very calm, stable mind is really creating a foundation for this kind of glow up energy. Okay, last card. 2 of water. Oh yeah, I mean, coming into things that, this coming under that divine feminine, magnetic, receptive power. You're really coming into harmony with your soul, and that is attracting in soul places, soul people, soul environments, soul circumstances, things that feel like you, that feel right, like you are taken to a place and you're like, I just know this place even though I've never been there. Or you meet someone and you're like, I just know them, but I've never met them. But I know, like those things are coming in. So yeah, I mean, that's really gorgeous. So a lot of this manifestation could just be in that, like, I don't know, it kind of feels like this 2 of water has some kind of key to the types of manifestation coming in. It's just like very soul resonant things you have such deep familiarity with, and yet you've never actually experienced or met or been to, right? So it's like you're meeting your soul in other forms and varieties of things this month, and just manifesting very soulful circumstances in your life. I think that's what the manifestation is like very, manifesting very soul territory things. Sense of home in all sorts of dimensions. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave you guys. I hope this resonated. If so, I always appreciate support. Likes, shares, and subscribes are easy ways to do that. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. But in general, just thank you for being here, for letting me read for you guys. And have an amazing October. Really beautiful stuff came out here. So manifest these things. All right. I hope to see you guys in future readings. Hello, Pile 9. Welcome to your October numerology reading. So if you guys are here, your numerology vibration for October is 9. So you are completing a 9-month cycle, which means next month some new things will happen. New things will seed for you. But before you can do that, it's time to sort of look back on the journey, to contemplate what you've learned, to integrate a lot of wisdoms, to universalize things, to share the wisdom you've gained, to contribute to the world through sharing your wisdom, but also tying up some loose ends. There could be, I don't always find the 9 energy as like hyper busy, but I do find it to be having these ebbs and flows of very contemplative and coming into understandings and wisdoms, and then suddenly you'll have this little scramble of like, oh, I need to fix that and tie that up, and then there's spaciousness. So it's like there's like a bubble, bubbling energy, I feel like, with the 9, where it's like a little busy and then spacious and wise, and then a little busy and then spacious and wise. But there are completions too that can come through, where you can feel like certain things are coming to natural stopping or resting places. But in general, there's usually, more than anything, a certain sense of wisdom you feel like you're coming into, and kind of a mature level, like a level up in a certain maturity as well. So for you guys, let's see how we're going to do some oracle cards to see how the energy of October 2024 wants to kind of mingle with your 9 vibration. How do these two energies, you holding the 9 vibration and October holding its own kind of system of energies, how do those interact? How does that affect the quality of your 9 vibration this month? Okay, we have the quail and gooseberry with anticipation. Interesting. I mean, that could be about a lot of things. Anticipation of a completion, anticipation of the new beginning that comes next month. You could have impatience this month and like, I feel like I'm just done with certain things and I want, to get to the new energy. So for some of you, you could have moments of like, okay, like, let's hurry up and finish this. Like, where's the new stuff? But anticipation could go towards 1,000 different things. It doesn't have to be that. Anticipation of coming into greater wisdom, anticipation of something finally coming into its wisdom, that you just sort of sense you're almost to this point of like understanding something. And so the anticipation of like, I feel like I'm like right there of understanding something, and why can't I just get to that last step, that last completion of something? But whatever that, that anticipation energy could come up in lots of different ways for all of you is what I'm feeling. But I do just feel this, and that, that's normal. Like when you're, think back to like graduating high school, when you're a senior, there is that anticipation of like, well, if you're someone that went to college after high school, like what is college going to be like, or where am I going to be accepted to college, or if I don't go to college, like what's my next step, like. But then there's anticipation of like, oh, there's all these last things I want to do in my senior year. I really want to go, I haven't really gone to a lot of dances during high school, so I want to go to all the dances. I really want to make sure that I spend a lot of time with my friends, because this, we'll all be broken apart next year in different ways. I really want, like a lot of things on your bucket list, like what haven't I finished in this high school experience. Maybe I always wanted to be in a play and I never tried out, so I should do that this year. So, like things like that, where it's like you're musing about the future, but also sort of like a little bit more immediately, like, oh, what are those last things I want to do and experience, and just dip my toe into or get the most out of. So it kind of has that energy to me of like senior year of high school. Okay, let's get an Earth Alchemy card as well. Grandmother Moonstone, cycles of change. Illuminating boundaries, new beginnings. Yeah, I mean, that goes so well with what I was just saying with the anticipation. It's like, I do think something, however this 9 energy comes out for you and whatever it feels like it relates to in your life, I think you feel connected to there's a natural cycle in place where it feels like you're coming into natural completions, and that the cycle you're in is leading toward a change. Like you're at that illuminating boundaries, to me is more about like illuminating that, like, I'm at the edge of something, I'm at the limit of something, and I don't know what's past that threshold, past that. For me, I've never experienced what's past this boundary line. And I know I'm really getting really close to bumping up into that territory that is unknown to me, where I'll have to cross a boundary line that I'm unfamiliar with, but will hold a new beginning. So that does hold that more, that future anticipation too. So for some of you, there may be something that you already know of that's kind of upcoming, but it's like a month or 2 or 3 down the road, or you just sense something is about to shift for you. And so there is just this underlying kind of like, yeah, I feel like I'm in, like something's at the end of its road, but like, what is that thing that's coming? Just this, I don't know, it feels like this very bubbly kind of energy. Oh, and I was talking about bubbly in a different context too. So there's definitely bubbly energy for you guys this month for some reason. Both in how I was relating it initially in terms of like moments of tying up loose ends, and then moments of coming into wisdom and spaciousness, but then also here bubbly with like anticipation of things, and recognizing that you are at the furthest out edge of something that you've been to that's leading to a new threshold. And what is that? And what does that mean? And what's going to come? And so, yeah, in a diverse way, there's bubbly energy going on. Okay, let's see what the priestesses of light have to say. I don't know, this one is the one that wanted to come. Clairvoyance, inspiration, interpretation, and trust. Yeah, it's just like knowing's coming in. That feels very resonant with the 9 energy. So something about October's energy in conjunction with the 9 is like helping you to just sort of like know things and even sort of see things, being able to visualize things. And it makes sense that like inspiration might be coming up too, because that would definitely bring up some anticipation. New inspiration can be a very bubbly thing as well, something that's like trying to grab onto mist. And it's sort of like an illusion. It can be there 1 minute and then gone and then back, but you can never quite grab it, and it bubbles up and down, like in and out of reach, like an illusion, or like a mirage type of thing. And so you're having to use interpretation and trusting what you're seeing, what you visualize, what little things you can hold on to in terms of how you can interpret something that you can't grab onto. And so it's like, yeah, I do think maybe you're having some visual energy around future things. But they're a month or 2 off in terms of this being connected to your monthly cycles of 9. And so there is this asking that you just kind of have to trust that inspiration means something, that what you're interpreting is accurate, because this month you won't actually have the evidence of it. But my suggestion is like, enjoy the inspiration. When we anchor manifestation in and we're able to start doing something with it, when it breaks through and like materializes or realizes, it's never what we imagine it is, but we don't get new things unless we have those moments of inspiration. And I think it's such a beautiful, like phases when we really can tap into inspiration. I don't know, there's just like so much meaning, there's so much hope around that, there's so much spiritual connection to something bigger. And the more you can just like enjoy it for what it is, the more you can avoid like anxiety attached to anticipation, and more just sort of like being on a little bit of a roller coaster. Enjoy the ups and downs as like a sensation, but don't feel attachment. That attachment will bring anxiety. So just like enjoy the richness of inspiration, and don't try to grasp it, try to anchor it, try to realize it. Just let it be what it's going to be, because it is helping you to incubate something. So just enjoy it, and let it be a little bit ethereal. That's my suggestion to you guys. But definitely, like a mystical, for sure, sort of a mystical energy coming through for this 9 month for you guys, which is interesting. Okay, let's get some tarot to go along with this under each of these oracle. 9 of Air under anticipation does show that there could be some anxiety coming through. Your mind could run away with ideas and stories you tell that might not always be positive stories, because we all tell ourselves stories based on what patterns have already kind of played out in our lives. So some wisdom that you could come into in this 9 month is like getting over being able to witness the stories you tell yourself. That can be a really difficult thing to be able to see, are the stories we tell ourselves. But you have the potential to witness that this month. Stories you tell yourself that bring up negative thoughts, negative emotions, fears, insecurities, anxieties. I think you're seeing, you're witnessing, and you're finding new wisdom and kind of breaking through that. I think so. There could be some completions in stories you tell yourself because you're in a place to be able to see them. Okay, let's get... That one came out first and then that. Okay. High Priestess. Yeah, trust yourself though. Like you do have a lot of wisdom showing up, but a need to really trust your intuition, trust the unseen things. But there are knowings, and I think you're starting to see through some illusions you hold, starting to see through some of the mind trappings you've had. You're really, for a lot of you guys, you may be really coming to an end of a cycle where you've really learned a lot about your mind and how your particular mind works. And this month, like coming into like a huge level up and really seeing some bigger things than you have yet seen in the past 8 months. And so coming into this like really strengthened intuition and trust in your intuition that starts to kind of like settle in and find its kind of sage quality, allowing you to turn on like a clairvoyant quality in a more heightened way. And then Queen of Air, yeah. I love, we see you moving from the 9 of Air to the Queen of Air and the High Priestess bridging this. So that is telling its own story here, that you are this month, some of this completion energy that you're going through is like really getting a hold of negative stories and patterns and habits of your mind and self-talk and judgments. You're starting to see them and then see through them. You're starting to rewire those with a more rich, nourished, intuitive sense. And you end this 9 vibration in a much more nourished and commanding mind, a much more wise and strategic, but compassionate mind at the same time. It's really beautiful. It's quite a trajectory and leap that takes place, like a quantum leap. But I think that quantum leap can take place because I do think, whether you've been conscious of it or not, the last 8 months you've been doing a lot of work on understanding your mind. Which, with some, I won't get into it, but there's some astrology. There's certain planets you can follow to see like heroes and heroine journeys that we go on. And the hero's journey that we've been on for quite a while has been a lot about the mind. And we are coming in October, we will be in this place of like coming into some empowerment on a lot of like mind work, mental stuff we've been working on. So that makes sense to me, coming into, whether you've been like consciously working on it or just like, you've been working on other things and subsequently that has worked on your mental energy. But yeah, there's some wisdom you're coming into. You definitely end October with a much more nourished and commanding and strategic and compassionate mind. Yeah, very cool. All right, so that is where I'm going to leave you guys. Very fascinating month. Not what I was expecting for 9, but it makes sense. And yeah, very powerful stuff. So good luck with that all. And yeah, if this resonated, I always appreciate support with likes, shares, and subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And yeah, wishing you guys luck and beauty with the journey of your 9 month, and I will see you in future readings.